visited a website that took forever to load, right? And the chances are it was due to unoptimized images. So, in this video, we are going to cover the most important key factors that we need to consider when we are optimizing images for the web. We will be covering the different image formats and when do we need to use them, different compression technologies, lazy loading, and even automation with code examples. So let's get started. So the first one that we are going to cover is the image formats and when do we need to use them. Choosing the right image format can make a huge difference in the file size and quality. And if you are choosing the wrong image format, remember, you are making your website slow by seconds. So let me just break down which image formats are best for your site and when do you need to use them. But before that, let's make sure we understand why image formats matter. The format that you choose affects the file size, which directly affects the loading speed of your website. The second is image quality. If you are using a wrong format, you are making your image sharpness dull and its details can also be lost, okay? Then next we have the compatibility issue. Suppose you are using newer formats like AVIF. Those formats are not supported by every browser. So you need to use a fallback format such as like WebP or PNG for that, okay? And here are the most common formats that we use for our websites: JPEG, PNG, WebP, AVIF, SVG, and GIFs. And the first one that we are going to cover is the JPEG. JPEGs are best when you have photos, images with many colors and gradients. And its compression is loosey. That means file size is going to be small, but you are also going to have some quality loss. And you will use JPEG when you have complex and colorful images. But there is a disadvantage too of using a JPEG, which is no transparency. So if you have an image with the transparent background, you are not going to use JPEG. No. Okay? You will use JPEG when you have blog post images, you have banners or photographs. Now the second one is PNG. You are going to use PNG when you need transparency in your image and sharp edges, and its compression is lossless, which means no quality loss will be there, but the file size is going to be larger. And you will use PNG when you have logos, icons, and screenshots. And disadvantages: larger file size compared to JPEG. But you know, if you have transparent background, you are going to go with PNG rather than JPEG, okay? Then we have the WebP, web picture format. WebPs are best for modern web images with small size, and its compressions are both loosey or lossless. These are smaller than JPEG and PNG, and they also support transparency like PNG and even animation like GIFs. And you will be using a WebP when you have product images or hero banners. WebPs also have lower quality than AVIF for high compression. Then we have AVIF. You will be using AVIF when you have cutting edge compression with high quality. Basically means when you have an image and you want that image to have a high quality, you will be using AVIF. And its compression is both lossless and loosey. And AVIF are smaller than WebP and they also have better quality and they also support transparency and HDR colors. But the thing to remember is AVIFs are not supported by all the browser. So you do need the fallback. You can use fallback like WebP for this, okay? And when you will be using AVIF when you have high resolution photos and hero images. Then we have SVGs, Scalable Vector Graphics. These are vector based and you can scale them infinitely without losing the quality. And when you are going to use them, when you have the logos, icons and illustrations to show in your website. They also have the tiny file size and they are perfect for responsive design. But where they are not suitable is where you have photos or complex images, okay? Then we have the graphics interchange format. When you have simple animation in your website, you are going to go with GIFs. and its compression is lossless, but it is limited to only 256 colors. But for animations, you can also use WebP instead of GIFs, okay? So yes, that's what we have for the image formats and when do we need to use them. And here the pro tip is you are going to use multiple formats for best performance. And this is what I'm talking about when I say you are going to use different image formats, and how you can do so is by using the picture element, which I am going to cover in this video further ahead. But this is how you are going to use various image formats for different browsers, okay? And now next we are going to look at image compression techniques. But first, what is image compression? Image compression basically means you reduce the file size of an image, making it load faster on the web. And there are two main types of image compression. The first one is lossy and the second one is lossless. So lossy compression means you reduce the file size by permanently removing some image data. And lossless compression is you reduce the file size without losing any image data. Okay? And the common lossy formats are JPEG, WebP, and even AVIF. Okay? And common lossless formats are PNG, WebP, AVIF, and GIFs. And when to use which one? Okay, so you are going to use the lossy compression when you need small file size for faster loading websites. You have image, which is a photo or complex graphic, and if the quality loss for your picture is acceptable, this is when you will use the lossy compression. Okay, you will use the lossless compression when you need the perfect image qualities for logos, icons, and UI elements, and when the image has text or sharp edges. Okay, so for that you can use PNG or WebP in the lossless compression format. And when you need the transparency, PNG is going to be the best with the lossless compression. Okay, then how can you compress the images? There are several online tools available for this, like TinyPNG, from which you can compress PNG and JPEG automatically. You have the squash.app, which lets you control the compression levels. Okay, then you have the image Optim, which is great for Mac users. Alright, and if you want to learn in detail about the lossy versus the lossless compression, you can go ahead and read this article. Okay, I will be leaving the link for this into the description. Go ahead, read about the differences between both of them and when do you need to use which one. This is the great article, then you can read on this topic. What if you have a lot of images that you need to compress and you are running short on time? I have got you covered. So what you can do is you can automate the image compression using node.js. And how? Let me tell you. Open VS Code and create a folder named Image Optimization, inside which you are going to create or initialize that folder as a node.js application by running the command npm init-y, and then you are going to install these dependencies which are shown over here. I have detailed blog on this on my website view.dev. The link is in the description. You can just go ahead and copy paste this. Okay, then you are going to create the images folder and you are going to store all of your images into this folder that you need to compress. And after that you are going to create a compression.js file in which you are going to write this code. Here we are optimizing the image by compressing them. Okay, and here we are converting the images like JPG and PNG images to WebP images, and that's what you are going to have for the compression.js file. And before we start the compression, one thing you have to do is you have to go into the package.json file and you have to provide the type as module, and then open the terminal and run the command node compression.js. Okay, and here you will see the message that says image optimized and images converted to WebP format. You are going to have two folders created, which is the compressed images, okay, and WebP images. You can see the full stack lesson image, which was in the PNG format, got converted to WebP. And same goes for the second image. Okay, and now you can also check the size of the compressed and converted images using this command, which is ls-lh compressed images. you will see that the compressed full stack image is of size 219K, while as Prometheus is 124K. But what if we want to check the images that are present into the images folder? You can do so. And you can see this was the size of the image before compression, and this is the size after compression. You can do same for the WebP images. For that we have to say WebP images, and you will see the significant decrease into the size of these images. So this is how you are going to do optimization when you have large sum of images which you need to convert into another formats, or you need to decrease the quality size of it. Okay, so yes, that's what we are going to have for the image compression automation. And then we have the third part of this video, which is responsive images, serving different sizes for our website. So what you can do is, instead of serving large images to all the devices, you can use the source set to provide different images sizes. And because of this, browsers will automatically load the best size. This is going to be the default image source that will be used if the browser does not support the source set attribute. And then the source set attribute will provide the list of images sources with their corresponding widths, and the browser will then choose the most appropriate image based on the device screen size and resolution. So this React lesson image has a width of 400, while as the second image has a width of 800. And for the sizes attribute, we define a set of media condition, that is the screen widths, and we indicate what image size the browser should use at different viewport widths. So if the viewport width is 600 pixel or less, we are going to use the 400 pixel wide image, and if the viewport width is between 601 to 1200 pixel, we are going to use 800 pixel wide image, and that goes on. Okay, and then we are also going to have the alt attribute, which we will also be discussing further ahead why this is important. And you can here provide the alternative text for the image, which is used for accessibility and displayed if the image cannot be loaded. Okay, so that is what we are going to have for this responsive images that we should be using into our website. And our next topic is lazy loading. You are going to load images only when they are needed. How so? Let me tell you. But first, let me tell you why lazy loading matters. So lazy loading prevents the images from loading until they are about to be displayed on the screen. This will basically reduce the initial page load time. It is going to save you from the bandwidth, and it is also going to improve the performance, especially for long scrolling pages. And how this lazy loading basically works is, when you have an image which is below the fold, which is basically not visible when the page loads, the browser skips downloading it until the user scrolls down to that image. And in HTML5, you can enable lazy loading by just simply adding the loading equal to lazy attribute to an tag. So this is how you enable lazy loading. Perfect. Next then we have the image naming and the alt attribute. Let's cover why image naming matters. The first one is the SEO benefit. Search engine use file names to understand the images. So if you are not using proper image, you are not going to get SEO benefits, okay? Second one is accessibility. It helps the screen reader describe the images to the visually impaired user, okay? Third is better organization. Descriptive names make it easier for you to manage your images, okay? So what are going to be the best practices for naming the images? Let me tell you, okay? So for this, let's head back to VS Code and understand it with example. So the first one is that you are going to use descriptive file names. As you can see over here, what you have to do is you have to use the source attribute with the proper file name, which is Sunset Beach, California. And you are also going to provide an alternative attribute to it. What you are not going to do is use images like this. You are not going to get any benefit with this image file name. Okay, so use descriptive file names. And the second one is using hyphens instead of using underscores. You are going to name your image like this: sunset-beach-California, instead of naming it with underscores. Don't do this. Search engines treat hyphens as word separators, but if you are using underscores, they are going to get ignored. The next thing is you should keep your image naming short and relevant. You are going to use dog on a beach or dog on beach, and the alternate attribute is going to be something like this. You are not just going to go ahead and name it dog running on beach in California.jpg. No, do not do this. You have to keep it short and relevant. Don't add unnecessary details. And sometimes we have also seen images which are named like this. How would search engine know what your screenshot displays? Nothing. This is not someone is going to type into the browser like screenshot of 2025 at this time period. No, people don't do that, okay? So avoid unnecessary details. And then we have the alt attribute. You are going to do this: golden retriever playing fetch in a park, and not just leave the alt attribute empty. The alt attribute provides the alternative text for images, and it definitely improves the SEO, accessibility, and user experience when your images fail to load. So, are you going to leave your alt attribute empty? No, you shouldn't do that, okay? But yes, in case you have a decorative image which you do not care about if it comes into the SEO or something, it's just for decorative purpose, for that you can leave the alt attribute, but not when you have an image that is displaying the main content of your blog or your website and leaving it to empty. You are not going to do that. You are going to provide the alternative attribute, okay? And yes, that is what you are going to have for the importance of source and alt attribute. You are going to use the descriptive file name. You are going to use hyphens instead of underscore. You are going to keep it short and relevant, and you are also going to use alt attribute. Now the last thing we need to cover for this video is the picture element. You are going to serve different image formats and size. The picture element allows you to serve different images based on the screen size, whether you are on the mobile device or on the desktop. And it also has browser support. So how basically this works is, when you have a browser that supports AVIF format, this image will be shown. But if you have a browser that supports the WebP format, that is going to be shown. But if your browser does not support the AVIF or WebP, you are going to use an image with the JPG format. Okay, this is going to be your fallback image. And then into the picture element, you can also use the source media attribute. How it works is, when you have a smaller screen which is less than the 600 pixel, you are going to load the small image. If you have medium screen less than 1200 pixel, you are going to use the medium image. If you have larger screens, you are going to use the large image. Then your website is going to load the large image to the user. So this is the benefit of using picture element, okay? And now that you know which image formats to use and when to use them, the image compression techniques, responsive images, the lazy loading technique, image namings and alt attributes, and even the picture element that we covered into this video, are you ready to optimize your website using these techniques? If yes, then go ahead and do so. And if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them into the comments below, or you can even join our Discord server. I will be happy to help. And if this video was helpful to you and you enjoyed this video, then please do not forget to like and also subscribe. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye and take care.